Well, Shabbat Shalom. This is Daniel John Lee with Torah Restoration Ministries, and this is my weekly Shabbat Shalom podcast. My website is www.spiritandtorah.com. And today, I want to talk about a development that has occurred in the past 6 months of 2011, which I was talking about and prophesying in 2010. And I want to point out that things are unfolding just as this ministry accurately prophesied about a year ago. I first want to remind you that if you go to my website, spiritandtorah.com, you will find in the second trilogy of articles that I wrote, Prophecies in Daniel and Revelation, that I prophesied using scriptural understanding that the white horse of false spiritual unity, of immense spiritual deception, would begin charging forth in the year 2011. And I wrote this article the last summer of 2010. Then, if you go to the YouTubes that I've produced, I put out a YouTube last fall in which I again talked about the white horse charging forth in 2011. I said that 2011 would be a year in which there was going to be such spiritual deception that unless you consistently and diligently kept your heart close to Yah, you would be swept away as well. Well, I can tell you that that prophecy which I made has certainly come to pass, and I want to prove that. If you go to a website called Now the End Begins, it's a website that I highly recommend, always has really good news sources. There was a story that they published just a few days ago, and I just want to read some excerpts from that story. It's entitled, American Churches to Embrace Chrislam on June 26, 2011. Of course, June 26, that would be tomorrow. It says, American churches to deny Jesus Christ on June 26, 2011. NTEB has reported extensively on the growing Chrislam movement. Started by Rick Warren of Saddleback Church, it has grown dramatically and now has infected many hundreds of churches and denominations across America. A group called Fair Shaith is now spearheading the move to merge Christianity with Islam, and in the process, provoking the very judgment of God down upon us as a nation. The following is taken directly from their website. And I'm going to quote from the website now. Faith Shared asks houses of worship across the country to organize events involving clergy reading from each other's sacred text. An example would be a Christian minister, Jewish rabbi, and Muslim imam participating in a worship service or other event. Suggested readings will be provided from the Torah, the Gospels, and the Quran. It's amazing how they always leave out Apostle Paul. But communities are encouraged to choose readings that will resonate with their congregations. Involvement of members from the Muslim community is key. We will also provide suggestions on how to incorporate the program into your regular worship services. And we will assist local congregations in their media and communications efforts. While there is a strong preference for all of the events to happen on the same day, a number of congregations held interfaith services in January and February, giving us wonderful examples of how communities can come together in support and fellowship. Did you catch that? In January and February of 2011, all of these churches all across America began to do these interfaith services with the specific goal of merging Christianity with Islam, with the specific goal of causing there to be tolerance amongst the different religions. This is exactly what I prophesied and predicted, that the white horse would charge forth in the year 2011. And in the first 2 months of 2011, that's exactly what happened. Continuing on with the story, we will be posting photos, sample programs, and audio files from these services. Faith Shared will collect images and videos from these events to use on our efforts to spread the message of respect and understanding from America. Tensions around Islam in America have erupted throughout the country in the past year, referring to 2010, leading to misconceptions, distrust, and in some cases, violence. News stories on the rising tide of anti-Muslim bigotry and violence abound, with graphic and often searing images of antagonists, the protagonists, and the battlegrounds where they meet. All too often, media coverage simplistically pits Muslims against would-be Quran burners, neglecting a substantive representation of where the majority of Americans actually stand, a shared commitment to tolerance and freedom. We are committed to ensuring that the storyline changes dramatically in 2011 by helping to create an environment of mutual understanding and respect for each other's faith traditions. And again, that source is from Faith Shared. So, just as I predicted last summer in my articles, my second trilogy, which you can find toward the top of my website of spiritandtorah.com, and just as I accurately predicted in my YouTube entitled The White Horse Charges last fall, the spirit of deception has been unleashed like never before in this year 2011. I was right. My prophecy was correct. If you continue to read those articles, you'll see that I said that the white horse would charge forth in 2011, the first seal. The third seal, which is the black horse, complete and total economic collapse, would also charge forth in 2011. And the fifth seal, in which the martyrs are crying out for revenge for the blood that has been spilt, and the answer from heaven is to wait for a little while longer. It is those three seals that I prophesied and predicted would be broken this year in 2011. And indeed, we will see those things happen. We are already seeing with great clarity that the first horse, the white horse, has been charging forth as early as January and February of this year. And tomorrow, June 26, congregations across the United States will be participating in this diabolical and abominable service. So I encourage you, keep your faith burning bright. Continue to keep your eyes on Yahshua the Messiah. Every day you should be living like this, that every thought you think and every word you say and every action you commit is calculated so that when you stand before the King of Kings, Yahshua HaMashiach, he will be able to look at you and say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. Come now and enter into the rest that I have prepared for you." This, then, is how we should live. The deception is going to continue to rise. In fact, the rising tide will continue to mount as the minions of the Anti-Messiah begin to coalesce around Jerusalem, and as the Antichrist himself, along with his beastly government and false prophet representative, comes forth to deceive the entire world. Don't think that you're above this deception. In fact, the scriptures say that if it were possible, even the very elect would be deceived. That means that even those who trust in Yahshua as their Messiah, who are covered by the blood atonement, who study their scriptures and are in prayer, and are fellowshipping with like-minded believers, even they could be deceived if it were possible. There's another scripture in which Apostle Shaul says, "If even the righteous scarcely be saved, what will happen with the unbeliever, the hypocrite, and the wicked?" Indeed, if you're allowing sin in your life, this is a very dangerous time to be doing so. Things are going to get worse. There's going to be an economic collapse. In fact, you can go on the news and you can see right now economists all over saying that the dollar is on the verge of collapsing. There's a financial analyst by the name of Peter Schiff, and he says that he believes the dollar is going to completely collapse before the end of this year. And those stories are abounding as well. Tensions between Syria, Israel, and now Turkey are continuing to mount, and the United States continues to warn and threaten Syria that if they continue on their path, that the U.S. will strike against Syria. These things are just about ready to ignite. A powder keg is ready to explode in the Middle East, and that'll be the first domino that explodes worldwide. Are you ready to face these things? I was right about my prophecy of the white horse. It's borne out to be true, and I'll be right about the other things as well. Hold on to your hats. We're in for one heck of an adventure over these next 6.5 years. Yah bless and Shabbat Shalom. May you have a wonderful Sabbath and a very, very productive and Yah-centered coming week. Shalom.